Hi, this is USA Immigration Attorney LaToya McBean of the Law Office of LaToya and McBean. Donald J. Trump was recently sworn in as our 45th president. What does this mean for you? What does this mean for immigrant communities across the country? People are fearful. They have questions about whether upcoming changes to laws and policies will negatively impact them and their family. And so they visit my office and they ask many questions about what's ahead of us. But the first thing that I tell people is don't fear. There's no reason to be fearful, particularly if you've already started talking with an attorney to understand and sort out these issues. And also, if you're doing your own homework, your own research, that will give you that extra layer of confidence that you need as the new administration settles in and we begin to hear about changes that's coming out of Washington. Okay, so the first question that people ask me generally is, am I at risk of deportation under the Trump administration since I am not a U.S. citizen? You need to understand that there are valid grounds of deportation that the government brings against people who fall into these 5 crime categories, which I won't go into in great detail in this video, but future videos will do a deeper dive into each of these crime categories. The first is if you've committed what the government calls an aggravated felony. That is the worst offense that you could possibly commit against the U.S. government. You are facing deportation. Secondly, if you've committed crimes of moral turpitude or crimes that are gun-related or drug-related, and even if you have committed domestic violence, you may be deported. Now, if you've committed any of these crimes, it's really critical that you work with an attorney on your defense strategies. Don't go to immigration court alone. In fact, I wrote a blog recently which talks about a national study that was done which shows that people who are not detained, who are represented by attorneys, are 5 times more likely to receive the relief that they have sought because they had counsel. 5 times likely to get the relief that you've sought if you have counsel. So please, I urge you to work with an attorney if you have received a notice to appear to immigration court, or if you're already in immigration court, don't do it alone. Now, the new administration has talked a lot about deporting 2 to 3 million criminal aliens, 2 to 3 million people, actually. And so we don't yet understand what our new president means by criminal aliens. That's a very broad term. Now, what our president has been quoted as saying is, anyone who has entered the United States illegally is subjected to deportation. Now, that's a big group of people. We don't know whether they're going to narrow that down. But what we do know is that our country simply does not have the infrastructure to deport 2 or 3 million people, at least not at this time. Over the next few months, actually, we're going to follow what the administration has to say and what they're doing, what actions they're taking with respect to deportation. But again, the point is, don't do this on your own. Don't go to court on your own. Now, the second question that I hear from people is, I have a green card. Should I become a U.S. citizen? And my answer generally is yes, right, whether Mr. Trump is in the White House or not. Being a U.S. citizen comes with many wonderful privileges. You have the right to vote. You have the freedom of travel. There are many wonderful things. You are protected from deportation, and you're not subjected to immigration laws. And so generally speaking, if people are eligible for citizenship, I generally advise them to pursue it. Unless there are some reasons why it's not in their best interest to do so. But that happens very infrequently. Okay, third question that I hear from people is, will DACA go away? And if so, does that mean I'm going to be deported? Now, DACA refers to Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. over 700,000 people received DACA at this point. Now, in all likelihood, DACA will go away. Mr. Trump, our president, has made it clear that DACA is not a policy that he supports. However, Congress recently introduced legislation to replace DACA in the event that it does go away. And so Congress recently introduced an act called the BRIDGE Act. BRIDGE stands for the Bar Removal of Individuals Who Dream and Grow Our Economy. So under the BRIDGE Act, people who previously qualified for DACA would likewise qualify under this act, and they would be provided with work authorization, and they would be protected from deportation for 3 years. It's not a permanent remedy. DACA was also not a permanent remedy, but at least it's something. Again, legislation was recently introduced. It has not yet been vetted through Congress fully yet. This is not law yet, but this is just something that was recently reintroduced on Capitol Hill. Now, what we have been hearing in the media is that Mr. Trump is likely to sign an executive order that would extend DACA for maybe another 6 or so months. We don't know, it's unclear, but we do know, based on what we're hearing in the media, is that DACA is not something that will go away immediately, at least not this month, so to speak. But we don't know yet. Anything can happen. We'll watch and see, and as changes happen in the law and things develop, I'll be sure to post it on my Facebook page. So continue to follow me on Facebook for the latest updates with changes in immigration law. Okay, so the last question, and this is the best question. So I'm hoping that you stuck around. I'm now approaching 7 minutes and 15 seconds in this video. If you stuck around, you'd enjoy this one. The last question is, are we to go and hide out in Vermont now that Mr. Trump is our president? So in full disclosure, this question was asked by my 7-year-old nephew, who happens to be a U.S. citizen. He was born here, but nonetheless, he hears about what's going on with respect to changes in immigration laws, and he's concerned. And so he thinks that he and his family need to go and hide out in Vermont, of all places. And so the point with this question is that children are paying attention as well. Children are also scared. So it's very important to talk with your children about what's happening and to calm some of their fears and to provide them with information, because they are paying attention. And so I hope that this video is helpful to you to take away the point of not being fearful about what's ahead. Come talk with me about your immigration issue, and let's sort out what's going on with you and how I might be helpful to you. Thank you.